Hello, magical people. How's it going out there? Welcome to another episode of Astro Deep Dive. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I'm here with my astrology sister, Astrid Dumoulin. Hello, Astrid. How are you doing?
Hi, Meg. I'm doing fine. So happy to be here with you again. And I'm really excited about this video. And yeah, it's really going to be an intense one. So, how are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling the intensity. We got crazy collective transits going on at the moment. I've got crazy ass personal transits going on at the moment. So I'm just surrendering and I'm just like, okay, riding this wave. Let's ride this Pluto in Capricorn, our last just over a month of it out. It is freaking nuts. So
Yeah.
we're going to get all into in today's Astro Deep Dive some of the current hot topic transits that we've got going on. And we've got Shia there on Astrid's end. Hello, Shia.
Yeah.
Nice to see Shia. So before we get into it, just want to mention a few things. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Meg Moonbeam YouTube Rumble channels, as well as Beyond Mystic YouTube Rumble channels. And forgot to bring up your link here, Astrid. What's the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, just through my link tree of my website or my Instagram, they can message me and I'll respond as soon as possible.
Perfect. Yeah. So you can find Astrid over on her link tree that's in her Instagram bio. There, she's got all her links on that. And you guys know my astrology readings are available over at the description in the link box below, consultations.beyondmystic.net. And we've also got our lovely Carla over at Ascension Organites, our Pisces soul sister, has just made these beautiful new tarot card candles. Aren't these so cool?
Wow, they're beautiful.
Really beautiful. So those are available at Ascension Organites, and you can use coupon code Beyond Mystic, all in one word, to get 10% off. So how are we feeling? Astrid, how are you just feeling in general with the transits and the vibes that we got going on right now?
Well, it's making me a little bit sweaty, to be honest. The solar eclipse really hit me. There was like a wave of intensity coming forth from that. And then the Pluto switch now, I can feel it very, very intensely because I have Pluto in my third house of communication, siblings, but also on the road. And I encountered some road rage yesterday. So I was like, wow, Pluto is like coming in with a bang.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm feeling it. And now with the Sun Square Mars that we're having going into this weekend, noticing within myself, like feeling really easily agitated and people are just on edge a little bit. So we got a lot of really intense stuff going on. Sorry, there's a dog barking in the background. Can you guys hear that right now? Or no?
I can hear it.
So yeah, we're currently babysitting my brother's dog who is out of town at the moment. So if you guys hear some barking, that's on my end and I apologize about that. So why don't we get started with some of the current key dates, transits that we're currently having right now. Do you want to start us off with this, Astrid?
Yes. On October the 2nd, we had a new moon solar eclipse in Libra at 10 degrees. Then on October the 4th, Mars entered like its shadow, its point of shadow. So, and that's in Cancer. On October the 9th, Jupiter went retrograde in Gemini. And yeah, right now we're having Pluto going direct in Capricorn for the last time. So that is like really, really nerve wracking. On October 17th, we're going to have the full moon in Aries, adding even more intensity to what's already going on. And on October the 21st, the sun in Libra will exactly square Pluto. So, ooh. And then to finish everything up, the sun will enter in Scorpio the day after. So, yeah, this is wild. It's making me scared, Meg.
I mean, we've already had so much crazy stuff happen lately. The past, what are we, 2024, 4 years? I feel like we're all collectively traumatized a little bit. And now we're entering this period that us astrologers, we've been talking about this for years, this moment right now, with Pluto at the end of Capricorn, it being USA election time, eclipse season, very intense transits. So thank you for sharing those key dates, Astrid. And why don't we start by kind of dissecting the Jupiter retrograde that we just had? That was on October 9th. So Wednesday, October 9th, Jupiter went retrograde and will be retrograde until February 4th. First thing I want to ask you about this, Astrid, is have you noticed that it kind of feels like, well, I've noticed, to me, it feels like we've been in a Mercury retrograde kind of energy ever since Jupiter has been in Gemini. Since,
Yeah, it's just so weird. There's such an information overload. And like before I dive deeper into particularly Jupiter, I just want to mention before we start that right now all the planets are in detriment. So every
Mm,
planet is in a place where it doesn't like to be. So I think then now with Jupiter moving backwards, it's gonna give like an expansion into all the energy and all the planets that are like, oh, I don't like to be here. And I think it's really really noticeable in society or in our neighborhoods as well right now. So
mm,
yeah, it's just a bad planetary time right now.
it is.
um, so, Jupiter is actually associated with the principles of growth and expansion, prosperity, higher education, foreign travel, religion and faith, but also the law. And I think, yeah, on a more personal level, Jupiter retrograde can have its positive effects, but I think for the world collectively, it's like a little bit more difficult because Jupiter is like the god of wisdom and justice. And whenever Jupiter goes back, there's like a lack of that. So I think for the whole world, it's like they're gonna like question society and the rules and how we are how we are behaving and how our law system is working as well.
Mm,
So, on a more personal level, it's more about consolidating the gains that we've made since June. But on a collective level, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I think. What do you
yeah,
think?
yeah, for sure. And that's until, when is that? February 4th,
Yes,
right? So
yes,
we'll have new North Node, South Node by then. We'll be fully in Pluto and Aquarius by then. Very different energy beginning of 2025. But right here, right now, I'm feeling, yeah, it's kind of like I really resonate with you just said. A lot of the planets are at detriment and in places that they're not comfortable being in right now. And then to top it off, Jupiter, the biggest planet that expands everything that's going on, going retrograde in Gemini, which is his detriment position, right? Or fall position. Detriment or fall?
I don't know. I thought that
Detriment.
some of it.
One of the two.
Yeah,
So I feel like this is going to heighten the confusion
yeah,
that is already apparent with
yeah,
Neptune in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces. And like you said, that was such a good point. It's already been this information overload. And maybe information from the past, Jupiter retrograde in Gemini coming forward, but might not totally make sense until we have that Jupiter going direct into 2025, getting closer to the Neptune and Saturn finally ingressing into Aries. And I've actually, even before we went live today, I'm just feeling this energy collectively huge of confusion, what's real, what's not real. I didn't send this to you yet, Astrid, but somebody sent me or posted in my Telegram channel this weird ass picture of me that I'm not even going to share because I think it's like really dark. I'm not even going to share. They took hours out of their day to make a collage of how I'm a transgender man. It
what?
was the most fucking weird thing I've ever seen in my life. And they went into my Facebook and my Instagram pictures with my family. They were measuring my face and my body. And
What?
Meg'Beam is a man and she's a Satanist. And it's like, wow, the the mental illness right now and
Yeah,
the confusion right now is real.
it's true.
And I feel like this Jupiter Gemini is retrograde. It's not going to help with that.
No.
So, what do you and Astrid, you've got that beautiful moon in Pisces, right? So, for you personally, I hope you don't mind me saying that. So, you've got one foot in this world, one foot in that creative spirit world. How do you stay grounded? And especially during these times with that kind of Piscean confusion so strong.
Well, what works best for me is movement because the Aries sun. But for my moon, I really like to walk nearby the sea. Like I was a little bit stressed this morning, and I just went for a very long walk by the sea and just like listening to the waves, closing my eyes, and just try to like be in the moment because
Mm,
with all these horrific stories going on at the moment, I've been having more weird dreams lately. That's also a beautiful gift of the Pisces moon, but it's like very, very draining. And if I would like connect with that too much during the day, it would like really kick my ass at night. So I really need to stay focused, stay in the present, because if I just let being swayed away by all these weird intensity and emotions that are coming through in the astral realm right now,
yeah.
that's just like too much for people who have Pisces planets right now. I
Yeah.
don't know, Meg, if you have been feeling more vivid dreams lately.
I have. Yeah. And weird, kind of uncomfortable dreams, me
Yeah,
personally.
yeah,
Weird, uncomfortable dreams coming up. So, people from the past, just weird situations. So, yeah, that's such a good point, Astrid, of just staying grounded, going out into nature. For you, you live in the beautiful coast of Belgium. So, that's amazing grounding, getting barefoot, like near the ocean and doing that. And I really feel for the Pisces placements right now. I feel like a lot of them have been struggling right now.
yeah. I have been struggling. I'm gonna be honest. Like I have 4 planets in Pisces, and with my Saturn return right now, it's been a lot, and
Mm,
I'm not really looking forward to the end of December because then Jupiter will square Saturn at the end of the year. I think it's on the 24th of December,
mhm.
just in time for the holidays. So those family dinners might get a little bit dramatic this year, so don't be surprised if you feel that coming up. But yeah, it's like a lot of information, a lot of false information,
Mhm.
a lot of people sharing their belief systems without having like a truth to it. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's like it feels a little bit chaotic at
Yeah.
the.
Do you think that that might be a positive of this Jupiter retrograde in Gemini? I just felt that when you said that, of some people exposing, maybe some people being exposed for, because Jupiter can be the preacher, right? And the belief systems that actually don't serve us anymore, aren't even real.
Mhm.
So maybe a positive of it can be exposing of certain spiritual teachers or gurus or even podcasts or influencers.
Yeah,
Gemini, right?
definitely. Yeah.
People that are Gemini in nature.
And
We've
sorry, what I also
just
feel is like I think what will be a big theme coming up again in December is like Saturn can be resentment, and then Jupiter expands everything. Gemini are local people, Pisces are foreign people. So immigration, local people, those are really gonna be more like are gonna get more afflicted these problems at the end of the year as well. So
yeah, for sure. And do you know when is that exact square between Jupiter and Saturn again?
I think it's on the 24th of December.
Right,
So
December, and then we're going to have it again
yeah,
2025.
yeah, in June. But then it will be in another sign. I think it will be then in
Right.
Cancer, Jupiter.
Yep.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
it will be a little bit different, but
Wow.
not.
Yeah, we are in it. It feels like we're in a thick soup right now too. Like it's just weird weirdness. People are mentally feeling weird, physically feeling tired. Spiritually, it's like, what's the truth of what's actually going on right now? So yeah, I'm looking forward to 2025, 2026 with more of that Aries. And even though that can be a little bit scary having so much in Aries, we're going to talk about that. I'm looking forward to that Aries directiveness in the present moment. Yes, that is real. And no, that is not real. Right? That's what you Aries, Astrid is a Aries out there. They're so good at that. You know exactly what you're going to get with an Aries, and they're very like, they have amazing common sense and street smart. And it's yes, no, there's no in between.
No,
Right?
there's no in between.
There's no in between. So, okay, this is like a retrograde city week. We've just had, well, actually, we do have 6 heavenly bodies retrograde as we're filming this Astro Deep Dive. And then around 8:31 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to have Pluto go direct in Capricorn, 29 degrees for the last time. And I feel like a little bit of a broken record because we've been talking about this so much. I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah, well, to me, it's just like the some very long-standing system or government corporation is undergo a major transformation. I think of, yeah, prominent figures are falling off the pedestal, and there are like so many of them. And I think people who are like almost impossible to scrutinize will like show severe weakness as well. And I think there are gonna happen a lot of catalytic events that are gonna bring forward a huge transformation until actually the end of the year, because Pluto at 0 degrees is still, when it switches to Aquarius, is still gonna have some major revelations, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And I just want to bring something up here because actually today, this news just broke that Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s mother died today or yesterday. So that just came out today. And that's something that we actually talked about in one of our last Astro Deep Dives with Pluto in Capricorn for the last time is, Pluto is the planet of death. Capricorn is older people, but also statesmen, politicians, government workers, elites, high level people. So I find it interesting that right before Pluto is stationing to go direct, Ethel Kennedy passes away, while Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has, Pluto right on his sun right now. Crazy. So you just can't make the astrology up. But is there anybody else that I'm forgetting, you guys, that we've had since September 1st that's a prominent politician or high level person that's passed away? I know there's been some, but I can't remember at the top of my head.
That's passed away. I don't really know. The only thing I know is like Harvey Weinstein getting new charges. Then we had the whole Jeffrey Epstein, the Me Too movement, and Diddy. It's like all these people who are very powerful are actually getting their reckoning right now. So,
Right.
but like people dying, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something we'll have to do another video on, Astrid, because I just saw today too that the P. Diddy trial is set to go live and it's going to be broadcasted May 2025.
Okay.
So maybe that date will change. We've got, I think this might be Jean-Claude here. Hello, JC. Nice to see you. Yeah, so, for some reason, I have a feeling like that might actually change and it might not be that date for some reason. But when we do have a firm date of when that P. Diddy trial is going to go live, I think it would be cool for us to do Astro Deep Dive, maybe just on that, and also look at the transits of some of the other celebrities, politicians that are involved.
Yeah.
Right?
Because like Hollywood belongs to Pisces, the movie industry, and now with Saturn there, they're all getting their reckoning. And I know a lot of celebrities who are like connected to the scandal they have their south node in Pisces.
Right.
So it's so crazy that Saturn is now conjuncting that placement, and yeah, they're all gonna get their payout karma in the next few months. So
Yep. They definitely are. Her Miller 13 says that seems so far away. It does seem far away, but I don't know about you guys. Time feels like it's been going so fast the past few years, and that'll be here before we even know it, I feel like.
Yes.
So that'll be absolutely wild time. So yeah, we've been talking about Pluto at the end of Capricorn a lot. Astrid, do you have any advice for each of us just personally in our lives, just as personal people in our lives with this transit? We're just over a month left of this, and we've all been going through Pluto and Capricorn the last 16 years somewhere in our chart. Right. So I've been telling people a lot. It's really good to look at where you have the sign of Capricorn in your personal astrology chart, because that's where we've been going through the Plutonic revealing, cleansing, transformation. But any advice for just all of us in general at this time?
Well, if you encounter people who try to dominate, manipulate, or control you, just know that they're doing that because they're actually feeling insecure.
Mm,
So try not to be triggered by that. Try to remain in your power. And if they are trying to dominate you, just let them know in a very friendly way that they cannot have the upper hand above you, and people are going to try, and it's like their last resort right now that they're clinging to, but just let them know in a very friendly way that it's not going to work. And I think that is the best advice, because if you're going to respond in a Plutonian way, that's only going to make things way worse than they actually have to be. So
that is super good advice that I didn't even think about. So true that Pluto, we talk a lot about it's the planet of death and rebirth and crisis and the ruler of Scorpio. But such a good point, rules powerful people, power struggles big time. And big theme I'm noticing with some people in my life and when I talk to clients as well. And noticing the Capricorn sun moon risings right now and the major Capricorn placements, really feeling it as well as the Scorpios, of course, also ruled by Pluto. So, this is affecting all of us wherever we have Capricorn in our chart. Very good to look at. But if you are a Capricorn or one of the cardinal signs or a Scorpio and your life is just like kind of crazy right now and there's a lot of shifts and changes, things being revealed, you're not crazy. It's Pluto at the end of Capricorn, 29 degrees, right? So, yeah. And just to repeat what you just said, Astrid, there, because it's such a good point, we're continuing to see the destruction of the matrix, the structures and systems that have been governments and politicians, and it will get more and more intense. I'm seeing here Sovereign Soul Sam Q. Hello, Sam says, Meg, did you see the announcement about Trudeau? No, I did not. Is there something that is going on right now that we need to know about? Let me just look this up really quick. Trudeau, I'm not seeing anything right now. Let me know, Sam, what that is that you're talking about. Because we're like Canadians are traumatized right now. We're ready for Trudeau to be out. So, okay, this is big stuff that we've got going on, you guys. Anything else that we want to speak to about Pluto going direct?
Yeah, it's just like the same team that is getting out. There's like a flood of the same subjects, the same like people who are losing power related to like the children, the trafficking. If you
Mm,
look on Netflix, like the number one movie right now is like from the Menendez brothers, who actually killed their parents when they were younger,
oh my God.
and they were actually sexually abused for over 20 years. So this is getting also a lot of attention right now, and their case is going to be reviewed probably. So then you have like in India, in the Hollywood Bollywood industry,
Mhm.
same teams are coming out from people who are saying or claiming that they have been abused. So I think a lot of exposure from abusement and people who are, yeah, losing their power now because of that. And if we look at today and tomorrow, it's going to be the last time that the moon is going to cross over Pluto while Pluto is in Capricorn. So these days can feel rather tricky or
Mm,
heavy, um, very emotional as well.
wow. Yeah, and it's like us emotionally processing the whole past 16 years, I feel like. This whole transit that we've been in. Wow, very, very powerful stuff. And Pluto, of course, we've talked about this before, rules hidden money, right? Taxes, inheritances, can be associated with big banks, powerful financial systems. Where are you at right now, Astrid, with potential of a financial crash or just kind of the financial side of things at the moment with where Pluto is?
Well, I think in a couple of days, Venus in Scorpio is going to exactly oppose Uranus. And I think that will be a time during the month that we can receive some shocks in the financial markets.
Mm,
So with Venus and Scorpio, it's always about big money, big investments. Uranus is in Taurus, big shocks regarding the earth, regarding our financial system as well. So I really think in a couple of days we can receive news about our stock market, about the banks, because Pluto is now finally wrapping up this cycle. So
right. Yeah, that is a really good point. And yeah, it's crazy. Venus at detriment, Uranus at fall, Moon at detriment in Capricorn. Of course, that's a smaller cycle, but it's like all the planets right now are a little bit pissed off.
yeah, it's
They're like,
wow.
yeah, they're like, I hate being in this position. And then Neptune in Pisces, in his home sign, but that's again confusion, illusions, lies, deceptions, movie industry, P. Diddy, musicians, trafficking, all that kind of stuff. JC, hey, JC says BRICS meeting coming up on October 22nd. We're going
Wow.
to talk about that, JC. Might introduce gold backed currency. Okay, we're going to have to put that in our notes, Astrid, because I didn't know that BRICS meeting was happening. Do you want to speak to that just since that came up now, how we're having the Sun square Pluto on October 22nd?
Well, I didn't fully understand your questions because I was still like being a little bit swept away about what JC said here, because
That's
that's
okay.
like fantastic. So,
Yeah, this is if they're having this BRICS meeting coming up on October 22nd, which that's the exact day of Sun square Pluto and Sun ingressing into Scorpio, I'm pretty sure. They're talking about potentially introducing a gold backed currency. What do you think about that BRICS meeting with the astrology of with that Sun square Pluto?
well, I think definitely they're going to have to change something about our financial system. And I think that would be a very good first step. Because I really think our fiat currency is on the brinks of collapse. Eh? We all know that, and I also think I just don't hope that they're gonna like connect this to something having to do with the internet or something digital, because I'm a little bit afraid when Pluto changes to Aquarius that they're somehow gonna be able to yeah, reintroduce this, but connect it to a digital platform where they will have more control maybe over the gold. So I don't know. That's a little bit how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting that this is coming up. I've been personally feeling the past few days, actually, and I mentioned this before when we've talked about the Pluto and Capricorn transit in particular, is, the iPhone was invented and shown to, well, maybe it was invented way before that, but the iPhone was introduced to the public 2008, right when Pluto entered Capricorn.
Yeah.
This is something not a lot of people talk about, and I feel like it's a really important topic. So we've gone through 16 years of this Pluto Capricorn transit, people starting to get addicted to the smartphones, but there hasn't been that integration of the financials with the smartphone that much. Of course, we're now exchanging cryptos on the smartphone. People can go on their banks on the smartphone, but there hasn't been that what you're talking about, which some of us astrologers are concerned about, right? That digital ID or digital control. Of course, there can be positive apps to share a gold backed currency. It can go positive or negative, but I really feel like Once Pluto goes into Aquarius, I think Elon Musk is going to release a new phone or whatever it is, maybe a new device where it'll be like the new, what's the right word for me to use? The next generation of the smartphones or even the implantables, if you will, right?
Mhm.
And that will have something to do with the financial system as well.
Yeah. I think so
Right.
too, because right now in my country, they're like introducing the CO2 budget being linked to your bank account. So it's now free to use, and there's no pressure. But yeah, you can like see where they're going with that, and it's just a little bit scary that it's going really, really fast. And I think as soon as Pluto, as you said, will enter Aquarius, there will be like a whole new digitalization about all these like biometric data being added to it as well. And it's like
Yeah.
going to be very, very controlling. So,
Yeah. And I think personally, I think that will be more playing out in certain areas compared to other areas. But with Pluto at the beginning of Aquarius, we will see that play out for sure in certain areas. JC says BRICS are also set to start new payment system to compete with SWIFT. 81% of countries have accepted this new payment system. So yeah, it's interesting. Kind of goes along with the astrology big time as we enter Scorpio, and we're kind of getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but just bringing up closer to the end of the month transits because JC is bringing this up right now. This is what Scorpio is all about. Big financial systems and hidden money. And I think it's going to be a shock to a lot of people, a lot of the normies out there that are just acting like everything's fine and the government has my back and is taking care of me. So I know a lot of us know those people in our lives that are going to be totally shocked with some of these financial developments. Is that something that you're noticing in your life, Astrid?
well, I'm actually very, very grateful to be born in a very awake family. And um, all my brother, my mother, all of them are really, really up to date on what's going on. But in my wider circle, there are people who are still they can keep up with everything what's happening. And if I tell them about CO2 being linked to your bank account, they're like, oh wow, that's good. Then you can like know how much you are like unsustainable. And then I think like, wow, like it's like they have like these rose colored glasses on, and I don't know if it's like the Neptune in the last degree of Pisces
Mhm.
right now, but I think as soon as we're going to see this major conjunction in the next 2 years of Neptune and Saturn in Aries, I think that rose colored glasses will be like, it will fly off, I'm sure. But I sometimes I feel then it's going to be a little bit too late. I feel like now is the time to prepare, to look at different ways on how to deal with all the control they're trying to force on us. And yeah, it's sometimes very difficult for me to try to explain how deep the control and the manipulation goes. That's why I'm so grateful that here on Beyond Mystic, you're like really, really showing people what they're trying to do and like help them to find another way to look at
Mm.
this as well. So
Yeah, yeah, we're very grateful to have our like-minded community, that's for sure. And we're going to help be able to support those that it's going to be a mental health crisis, that Saturn Neptune conjunction.
yeah,
And some people say that I'm negative when I say that, but I'm sorry. If you have your financials in the old Capricorn way of doing things and you are not yet open to the new Aquarian ways of doing things, you are going to be left behind in a way and you're going to be shell shocked. And I do think that everything is going to work out for us in the end, but it's going to be shock, huge shock,
yeah.
and having to integrate totally new ways of doing things. So DigiBean says, I'm leaving that system. Yes, we are leaving that system totally. So, okay, we went a little bit ahead of ourselves. Let's go back well, actually, we're time traveling right now because we're filming this on Friday, October 11th. We're talking about October 22nd, all throughout October. Let's time travel to our upcoming full moon in Aries on October 17th. I feel like Astrid, when people listen to us, they must be like, some people must be thinking, oh my God, there's such drama queens. Every
Yeah.
time there's a full moon, they're freaking saying that it's, crazy. Okay, this one is actually so crazy.
Yeah, I have like no words. Like me as an Aries, looking at the chart, seeing the Grand Cross, and like if you have been following Meg along for a while, you already know what a T square is. You probably also already know what a Grand Cross is. But a Grand Cross is like two T squares combined, and like a T square in itself is already very, very intensely. So having two of them is like it's major, and like Aries, its planet is Mars. So we have a full moon in Aries and it's gonna square its depositor. It's like the ruler of Aries. So
Mhm.
squares, they give tension, they give like a challenge. And I think on a personal note, this full moon can be like a very big change, especially for the cardinal signs. But on a more collective level, yeah, we've already seen what's going on with Israel and some other countries right now. And I really think, yeah, it's gonna really blow off. It's like the full-on war mode energy, Aries. So, yeah, it's very, 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 yeah. I think a little bit dreadful. I think maybe that's the right word.
Yeah, but it's interesting. And I just want to mention that JC, Janine, and myself are going to go live on the full moon in Aries, October 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern, for this special show on Beyond Mystic Rumble, where we're going to also deep dive on that. So, guys, stay tuned for that special show with the three of us. And let me just bring up the chart again here, just a moment. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot to unpack with this. I'm actually kind of excited about it, and I'll explain why, but I'm also a little bit scared because it is a grand cardinal cross, right? So this is a chart aspect where, like Astrid said, every full moon we have the sun and the moon in an opposition. And then grand cardinal cross is because Mars and Pluto, and let me actually hover over those guys so you can see. So we got the sun, the moon at opposition in exact time of the full moon, both in square to Mars and both in square to Pluto. These are two malefic planets, right? It's not like they're in square to Venus and they're in square to Jupiter. No, some crazy shit is about to go down here. So, okay, first of all, do you think this is a war escalation?
Yeah, I'm sure. Like you've already seen with Iran and Israel right now, it's only going to get worse with this. And I think it also has to do a lot with our solar eclipse in Aries that we had on the 8th of April. So for people on a more personal level, some seeds that you've planted then can like undergo major big change right now. But like, yeah, on a mundane level, Aries is conflict, it's war, it's very combative, it's self-assertion, it's very headstrong. So yeah, it's like natural leaders, they're already very emotionally responding with Mars in Cancer. Cancer is the home. If you look at it from a country perspective, it can be like the land that you're defending. With Pluto on the opposite, it's like power games, control. It's really, really a very intense aspect. Like every time Pluto and Mars are aspecting with each other, we see a development in the wars that are ongoing right now. And the right word for Pluto and Mars connecting to each other is it's brutal, it is ruthlessness. It's like when we had the first big thing going on with Israel and Hamas last year on the 9th of October, we had a Pluto Mars conjunction. And if we look at the synodic cycles, every time Mars and Pluto if they touch each other in some way, there's always very, very horrible stories going on regarding to that. So adding that with an Aries full moon right now, it is, yeah, it's gonna like trigger a lot of violence. So yeah, I'm like not looking forward to that. But on a positive note, for the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, that can be like a very, very big change that's coming towards you right now in the next couple of 2 weeks, actually.
Mm,
So I think that's positive for them. It can be,
yeah,
but even though it's going to have some friction, there's going to be a change, and that's good.
yeah, for sure. And I remember Astrid a year ago when that unfortunately happened with Israel and Hamas, and that war really escalated. That week, you and I both were publicly talking about it, and people were saying, "You guys are so negative. Put your positive intentions out there." We were like, sorry, we're just astrologers and we're telling you this Mars Pluto aspect is really, really adverse and there's going to be some kind of war escalation. So, Catnip Evergreen, thank you for your comment. You say, I'm new in astrology and on this channel, and both of you are extremely gifted. I love the non sugar coating.
Wow.
Well, we appreciate that very much because, yeah, we get mostly positive love back. Sometimes, not positive, but we just don't pay attention to that. And Astrid and I, Astrid is Aries. I'm a Scorpio. We're both ruled by Mars. So yeah, we will tell you guys straight. So yeah, we're being honest. This is kind of scary. Okay. And we'll bring up the charts for Israel and Netanyahu so you can kind of go deeper into that, Astrid, if you want to. But I think it's good to also bring up the positive, like you said, some major life developments for those cardinal signs. And also, what I love about the Aries energy, and I said this earlier in the show, it's in the present moment, it's no bullshit, it's not confused. So, even though this is going to be a really intense full moon, it's going to inspire us to be empowered, to be in our self leadership, to take care of some things that maybe we've been putting off that is very important, or be in our strength and our bravery. Before we get to the chart of Israel, I want to ask you, do you think there's a potential with this full moon of a world leader or more than one world leader falling from grace?
Yeah, definitely, because it's like not being shown on the chart here. But if we look at the 24th degree, and if we're going to add some asteroids to that, asteroid Fortuna is at 24 degrees right now, conjoining this full moon. And asteroid Fortuna is like, yeah, the fortunes, the fate, being like the swinging of
Mhm.
fates right now as well. And who's also joining the party is actually the dwarf planet Aries. Aries.
Mm.
It's the sister of Aries, and she likes to stir up some conflict and war. She's known for that. So having these two also conjoining this full moon just makes it way more powerful. So yeah, and like I think around this day, the presidential race will reach a severe turning point. I'm a little bit worried for Trump, his health, to be honest. For Kamala, yeah, you know Kamala's chart so well. You know that's going to be like a storm for her. So
Yeah.
it's not really looking good. And yeah, on Mars's sun, like Mars on Trump's Saturn, it's like also not very good. So yeah, I think yeah, a swinging of fates, another someone having to leave, someone having to yeah really exit. So yeah, if we look at Trump's chart, this full moon takes place in his ninth house. It squares his Saturn and his Venus. But what worries me more is that Uranus, the planet of shocks, the planet of surprises, is squaring his Mars in the 12th house. The 12th house
Mm.
is isolation, it's self undoing, it is also the house of the hospital. And what's also important to mention is that Uranus right now is on Algol. And when it was exactly there, he had his first assassination attempt. So I'm feeling a little bit scared, and I'm like praying that he stays safe. And I'm feeling a little bit worried that the stress he had to endure over the last few months is going to take a bad toll on his health. Uh,
Mm.
yeah. So
Yeah. That's interesting, and thank you for sharing that, Astrid. I have been hearing quite a few different intuitives, not so much astrologers, but different tarot readers, just intuitives in general, keep picking up that there will be three assassination attempts, possibly like three things happening. So yeah, makes sense that hopefully that doesn't happen, but could be. Now, thank God, in my personal opinion, and I'm interested to see what you have to say, Astrid, I think Kamala's astrology is way freaking worse.
Yeah,
Would you
that's
agree with that?
yeah, I agree. Yeah, you can fully go on about Kamala, but because I know you know her chart very very well, so
Yeah, yeah. And I just want to acknowledge JC has put some comments in there. First of all, JC says, Poly, well, I can never say his last name. Pierre Polyev, you know, he's the conservative leader in Canada, Astrid, says Israel striking Iran nuclear sites would be a gift to humanity. Okay, that's crazy that he would say that. And JC also says Donald Trump's campaign has requested military support in the critical final weeks. I'm getting chills, including the use of military aircraft, expanding flight restrictions, and ballistic glass protection.
wow.
Okay, this is making me, thank you for that, JC. This is making me want to bring up. Do you
Yeah,
think, let's go back to Trump's chart for a sec.
I
Is
was
there
going
any
to ask that,
possibility?
so
Oh, sorry.
no, yeah, it's perfect. I was going to ask. Let's go back because
Do you see a plane crash?
a plane crash, I don't know, but something very, very surprising, shocking, out of the blue, like we've already seen before, is going to happen for sure. Because if you look, like Jupiter entered its shadow zone on the July 15th, 2 days after the first attempt. So now Jupiter is going to go retrograde on his sun. It's like not not touching his sun, like I don't know what's the right word, just
Junk.
not.
Yeah.
So that is telling me that like the planet of faith and wisdom and protection is just not touching his sun. So that makes me feel weird. But what I also wanted to mention is that yeah, with the Uranus Algol conjunction, we've already seen two attempts, and I'm a little bit afraid. I'm practically sure a third one will come with that. A
Mm.
plane crash. I don't know where you see that, Meg.
Yeah, just what's making me think about that. I've heard one of JC's friends and one of the Beyond Mystic sometimes correspondents called JSNP4 keeps having dreams, premonitions that there might be a possible plane crash involving Trump. Planes, of course, are ruled by Uranus, can be ruled by Jupiter and Sagittarius, but with that Uranus exactly conjunct Algol until October 29th. So isn't that fun that we've got that on near his midheaven, almost exactly conjunct his midheaven, in square to his Mars, accidents,
Yeah.
right? In the 12th house hidden. So maybe that's even already happened and we don't even know about that.
Well, that's weird because right now Mars is on Trump's Saturn. That could indicate also a very big setback or a health setback, burnout, but also things related to circulation. But like Mars on Trump's Saturn is now in the same position where his Sun was on July 13th during the rally in Pennsylvania. So to me, that like really stood out. Yeah, it's like
What was
something.
that? Astrid, sorry to interrupt you. I just missed that. What did you just say is the same as July 13th for Trump?
Well, Mars is on Mars in transit is right now on his Saturn, and that is the same position or the same degree where the Sun was on July 13th.
Oh.
So on July 13th, the Sun illuminated the Venus Saturn conjunction, and right now Mars is on that same degree, squaring the Sun, the Moon, opposition Pluto. So to me, that was giving me goosebumps because Mars's conflict, this aggression, this violence, what we've seen back in the day with the Sun there, and now the aggressive planet on the same position, that was like freaking me out, to be honest.
Wow. And that's what makes you a badass astrologer, Astrid, because not a lot of people would catch stuff like that. That's so true. So that's amazing that you can see that. So it's kind of feeling like, based off what we're seeing right now, there might be something happening with Trump around this full moon in Aries, and there could also be something happening with Kamala, and there could also be something happening with multiple world leaders because, you know, also Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. Gemini is things being doubled. Jupiter retrograde right now can be kind of expanding that. And full moon in Aries, Aries rules leaders, right? So it's highlighting all leaders throughout the world. So just to bring up Kamala, and I have talked about this on some shows, I'll just talk about this very briefly. The full moon in Aries, it's just absolutely crazy because we've talked about how it is a grand cardinal cross, right? And it is directly affecting Kamala in one of the most intense ways possible. So, you know, Kamala is currently having transit Pluto, squaring her sun at 27 degrees of Libra and squaring her moon at 27 degrees of Aries. So she's been having that for the whole past recent times, year or so, or over that. And when we have that grand cardinal cross at that full moon, it's also a grand cardinal cross on top of her chart, you know, directly even more amplifying that Pluto square because it's Mars in the cardinal cross, right? For all of us as a collective. So this is super adverse for her. On top of, she's got transit Saturn in opposition to her natal Pluto. Yikes. That's like really, really harsh astrology. A bunch of other different transits going on at the same time. So I'm going to be shocked if something doesn't come up with her. Actually, what I am going to say is, this is such intense astrology. Something is going to happen to her. And if it's not revealed to us, it's not being shared with us publicly. So and I'll just be clear here, I'm not promoting violence of anyone. I'm not promoting for anyone to die. I'm just reading this as an astrologer. She could die with this full moon. She could have a serious accident. There could be a violent attempt against her life. She may be poisoned, right? Pluto can have to do with poisoning. And I wanted to ask you that too, Astrid, with Trump. Is that something that you feel at all with his transits could possibly come up? Someone trying to maybe poison him, or not so much?
Yeah, I just see there's a lot of issues with circulation, and like I think his health will have like, yeah, a setback in one way or the other. And what I noticed is, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not so good up to date with, as you, because
Yeah.
I'm from Europe, but Nikki Haley, is she his runner-up?
She was one of the contenders for the Republican nomination. So she's not a part of anything right now, but
Oh,
she's probably campaigning for Trump. But a lot of people don't like Nikki Haley. They think
yeah.
that she might be like a psyop or something.
Okay, because what I noticed in her chart, and I didn't know, I felt called to check it, but like she has a 29 Capricorn sun, and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
that is so weird, because like, yeah, it just something feels off. And like if I look at Trump's chart and Kamala's chart, Jupiter, the planet of promotion, of good things coming towards you, they're like both refraining them in one way or the other. Trump here, just not on his sun, going back, like,
Mm,
ooh, no. Then with Kamala, just not on her rising, ooh, going back. It's like there's going to be some sort of refrainment of coronation, or like something delayed regarding the votes, or like I really feel something very strange and very off is going to be surrounding these elections that are going to come up.
yeah, I totally agree with you there. And that's something we can maybe just touch on for a moment, because we have gotten some questions about what's going to happen with the election, who's going to win the election. So I still need to do a total kind of look and deep dive on everything having to do with that. But I'm feeling the exact same thing as you, Astrid. There's going to be some kind of delay. That's for sure. It just doesn't make sense with, we're not having Pluto ingress into Aquarius until November 19th. That's really the start of us. Okay, now we're stepped into the future and we're moving ahead. We're still in Pluto and Capricorn, November 5th, and Mars opposite Pluto, right? Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
Mars in opposition to Pluto. So There's tension. It's not going to be normal.
No.
Yeah.
I can give some more information on the questions regarding the race if we look at the Sibley chart in a
Definitely. Yeah. Let me
sec.
bring that up.
Or do you want to say something about Kamala still?
No, just the one other thing I was just going to say about Kamala is we could see sex scandal coming out too.
Yeah.
That's Pluto square. Something huge being revealed about her, or something like a crisis emergency situation involving her on the day of that full moon or surrounding that. So, and before we get into this, just want to bring up JC says, Trump says going to be an explosion between Biden and Harris before election. Janine thinks it's damaging info that makes her drop off. Trump could then run unopposed. And
Wow.
JC just put in caps, oh, baby eating. Didn't mean to bring that up. Sorry, 76 Nortons. JC says, Trump says explosive. Yeah, Pluto is explosive. Pluto is the weirdest, darkest aspects of life, right? So not just that she had an affair with someone, it's dark arts. It's like a bunch of people coming forward at the same time. It's something completely undeniable and totally uncomfortable for everybody to look at, where she would have to be taken out of that position. Do you want to speak to that, Astrid?
Yeah, something that just came up to me is like I forgot to check Biden's chart because let us go a little bit wild right
Yeah.
now. But what if something happens to Biden? What if he like passes away, or like one of his so many clones starts failing? Would she then be like? Would it be able that she gets coronated as president before the election? Because
Yes.
because
Well,
if I look.
actually, sorry to interrupt you. I'm not an expert with that, but I'm assuming so. Let me bring
Because
up this part. Yeah, I think he's going to pass away soon. We talked about that in one of our last Astro deep dives. Where's his chart? Okay, here it is. We got so many freaking charts over here on our slide deck, you guys. When you're an astrologer, your computer is just like filled with all these charts and pictures and crazy stuff. Okay, this is Biden's chart.
Okay, wait, let's look real quick.
He's a Scorpio. Pluto at the end of Capricorn. So that full moon in Aries is going to be in his 5th house.
Yeah.
Interesting. So he's going to be in the spotlight somehow.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been in the spotlight lately. He's been on the beach vacations with Jill.
Oh my God, I saw those pictures when all like, and my prayers go out to everyone who endured the damage from all the storms in Florida and North Carolina and all the other states. If I saw his picture laying on the beach, I got so mad. It's
I
like,
know, it's crazy. Totally crazy. JC says, and yes, that is what the Constitution says. She might become the president.
well, because if I look at the US Sibley chart, and I'm sorry if I like start about another chart right now,
Yeah,
but
that's okay.
something like every time we have a conjunction to Chiron in the Sibley chart of the US, some major development around women comes forward. And like Chiron is not mentioned here in the chart, but it's 20 degrees Aries. So what stood out to me is that this full moon is gonna like really emphasize the 20 degrees the Chiron
The Chiron.
position. And like I think everything like rights for women being developed, like being able to do abortion, that is all like linked to the Chiron and Aries chart here. So this moon aspecting this position again, some very big theme around women, around women's rights, something having to do with women will come up now during this moon. So I wonder, what if she becomes president for a very short time, and then she's, because of the scandal, still has to go in some kind of way, because like it's like both of the astrology for Trump and Kamala is not really looking very good. It's very difficult for me to like point out it's like both of them have Jupiter not giving them the award. So maybe it's someone new, someone we don't even know of. I don't know. I feel some strange thing is gonna come forward, but I'm gonna try to let it go now for a while
Yeah.
because yeah, the U.S. Sibley's chart is like the signing of Declaration of Independence. So it's being used in a lot of very important events through the U.S. But what really, really scared me is that they have Mars in the seventh house, opponents, enemies, yeah, open enemies. And Jupiter is now going retrograde over that position. And if we look back at the last time that happened in the US Sibley chart, that was when Pearl Harbor happened 2 months after.
What?
Yeah, so if we go back to October 10th, 1941, that was the moment that Jupiter in Gemini, 21 or 20 degrees, went retrograde. 2 months later, bam, Harbor happened. We went to war with Japan, World War II, being dragged into a war with Europe as well. So I feel a little bit scared because that's like all the other planets are in another placement right now or in another sign. But it stood out to me that the exact same retrograde is going to take place right now. So that's like a little bit scary for me to notice. And I think it's something
Wow.
like I don't want to insist. I don't want to spread fear. It's just something that like was really, really crazy to notice. So yeah, the seventh house is also giving assistance to allies that are fighting, Mars. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're seeing right now as well with Israel. So yeah, it's making me feel not so good. And then in a couple of years, Uranus will, like even next year already, Uranus will go into Gemini, and every time US goes to Gemini, there's some sort of war for the US as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't look. It looks very very scary. We are at the scary point right now in history, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I do think that the dark arts people want us to go into war because we know they feed off of our fear, they feed off of our loosh, right? So the stars impel, they do not compel. There are some really big potentials here. What do you think we can do, Astrid, to deal with some of the? I mean, we're talking about a lot of really intense transits in today's show. Pluto at the end of Capricorn, this full moon in Aries that we've got coming up. Any remedies come to mind? Any ways that we can deal with these transits right now to maybe make the best of them or get through them safely, happily? What would you suggest?
Well, I think around the days of the full moon, don't go into very big crowds
Yeah.
because Mars is also, yeah, explosives or like weapons or like, yeah, it's like just violence in general. So I think really, really focus around the full moon in Aries about how can I stand in my own power and how can I reclaim my power. Careful not giving your power away if you get triggered or get mad, because it's going to be very, very easily to really go off at someone and make a way bigger problem out of something that is necessary. So I think really a little bit more retreat, a little bit, meditate, take a bath if you're mad, because Mars is very hot, very burning hot energy. Go exercise, go walk it off, go take a bath, and let the waters flow more. So, do you have more tips, Meg?
I was going to say the exact same as you. Do not go into big crowds with that full moon in Aries because we could see some explosions. We could see some very fiery protests. We could see violent acts. I hate to say it, but that's Aries in adverse aspects, right? So just like you said, Astrid, chilling at home. Murdoch is saying, hi, Murdoch, observe, don't react, don't
Yes.
absorb. And I shared it earlier when I did my daily Astro show. I freaked out a little bit at Jens for like no reason over something so little this morning. And it's that we're already having that Sun square Mars before we go into this full moon in Aries. And just recognizing that none of us are perfect, you guys. And you're going to feel probably more agitated, on edge, easily frustrated, particularly with this full moon in Aries being in cardinal cross with Mars and Pluto. So just being gentle with yourself. You know, Aries rules children, right? It's little children, one of the signs that rules children. So treating yourself like you would a child, right? If a child has a temper tantrum, we can be more prone to temper tantrums or freaking out. Loving yourself, giving yourself a hug. Okay, little Meg. Okay, little Astrid. It's okay. What do we need? Do we need a bath? Do we need to sing a song? Do we need to go for a walk? Working with your inner child, I think, can be really good right now. And I would also suggest, you know, just being really mindful of the energies that you surround yourself with, the people, places, the things, right? Because things are super, super heightened with this energy for sure. JC says, question, is Astrid coming to the Woo Beginning Beyond Mystic Conference in Ottawa, March 2025?
Well, I would love to. Thank you for inviting me, JC.
Yeah, that would be so awesome to have you. I know everyone would want to meet you, Astrid, and hear us talk maybe about some astrology together. How cool would that be?
Yeah, because like I'm gonna be honest, 2025 will be like a very intense, interesting year. It's gonna stand out, and like just to be honest, 2024 is already intense, but it's like a little. It's a warm up for 2025. So because then a lot of planets will start to change signs, and like yes, 2025 is going to be very, very interesting, and make we could do a 5-hour video about 2025 alone. So
We're going to have to do a 10-hour video probably on 2025. It's absolutely wild. And if you guys have not heard yet, probably a lot of you guys have heard, we're having the Beyond Mystic Conference 2025 in March of 2025. And I think it's going to be around or during that eclipse season. So very, very powerful stuff, live talks, in-person readings, keynote special speakers. So go check that out if you haven't already, you guys, on beyondmystic.net. And JC, do we have, is it just the general admission that's still available? Let me know. I think we've still got general admission tickets still available, as well as, if I'm not mistaken, online streaming pass. So you guys are definitely not going to want to miss out on that. That's so, so much fun. And something that I want to say too is I'm so grateful to have you, Astrid, as a very close friend, one of my absolute best friends in the world and fellow astrology sister. And it's such a gift to have like-minded soul family in our lives through friendship, through love relationship. And you do astrology readings as I do. And sometimes I talk to people, and there may be even some people listening to the show that don't know anyone like-minded in their lives, right? Get your butt out to the Beyond Mystic Conference and come meet some weirdos, some fellow weirdos, because it's so important to have that connection. And that's part of us going into Pluto and Aquarius for the next 20 years, is bringing back the community,
yeah.
right?
And you've been so healing for me, Meg, because I've like, my mother was an astrologer, and it's like a little bit my second language, but everyone always looked at me very, very weird. I was always the black sheep on school, actually everywhere. And like, even though I have very, very good friends, it's like, Meg, with you, it's like a whole different level. We speak the same astrology language, and like we like the same weird stuff. And it's like, thanks to you that I'm like daring to speak out, to be more myself. So yeah, being with you and having such a lovely friend and connection, that heals a lot of my heart inside. So
Thank you. And I love you. And I know everyone was so excited for us to come on today. Catnip says, Dankjewel, meisjes. Great deep dive. My gear is ready for the next dive. So yeah, we'll have to schedule our next one. And some stuff we didn't get too into NATO, Netanyahu, Putin. Is there anything you want to mention on, or should we keep that for
well,
another
I'm
one?
just gonna like say very quick and short, because I don't want to say more negative things, but like the ones who like Netanyahu are not gonna like me saying this, but like his chart is like almost as bad as like Kamala's. So there's like a lot of bad things happening to that as well. But that's going to play out more over the next 2 years. So maybe we can make a separate video on that and about the conflict in the Middle East. Then we can dive deeper into all of that. But yeah, there's going to be ongoing conflict for the next 2-3 years. But I think then he will fall from grace as well. But he already fell from grace with all he's doing. But yeah, this full moon in Mars doesn't look very good for him as well. So,
and he's a 27-degree Scorpio sun, exactly like Joe Biden.
Libra.
Oh, sorry, Libra.
So it's on his sun, actually, on his sun and moon, opposite right now.
Right.
So Mars is squaring his sun and moon, squaring his Lilith, the shitster. Oh, sorry for my language, but
Okay.
Lilith is a very, very dark planet. It's Lilith came in to eat your babies and steal them at night. That's like a little bit her story. So yeah, it's like when I saw this chart, I was blown away. So yeah, it's not looking good for Netanyahu. I don't know how it will end for him, but this full moon and Mars will piss him off quite a lot than he already is. So yeah,
It is exactly the same. Kamala Harris is a 27-degree Libra sun. How weird. Netanyahu, Kamala, and Joe are all 27-degree suns.
yeah,
Gemini degree.
yeah. And what also stood out to me is that Jupiter going retrograde in the US Sibley chart, 7th house, open enemies. Here we see the same. I think there's another chart revolving around that there's a lot of things going on right now in the 7th house of open enemies, opponents, allies, fights. A lot of important transits are triggering the houses of very powerful people right now. So that really stood out to me.
Interesting. We'll have to do a whole maybe special show on the Middle East because that's a whole other bag of worms that we can get into. Awesome. And I see JC here says March 14th, 15th, day of the eclipse, 16th. And yes, general admission tickets still available. VIP and Mystic are already sold out. Is that eclipse the 14th or the 15th, Astrid, in March?
I think for Belgium it's the 15th, and I think for US is 14th. I think it's somewhere just like yeah.
Wild. Okay, we'll have to talk about that coming up too.
Yeah, I can say so much about the eclipse, but I'm gonna save that for later.
Yeah, and that's the faded, or no, sorry, the one after the March 29th eclipse is the Nostradamus.
Yeah, well, I have to check if it's the 14th or the 29th in Aries, but I know these set of eclipses or like the month of March, Nostradamus said shit will hit the fan. So
yeah, thank God for Nostradamus. What a genius. Okay, cool. Let me make sure I'm just bringing everything else up here. Guys, remember that we do still have the Red October special sale, 50% off the Insider Access Pass on beyondmystic.net. You can use code IAP50, all in one word, until October 15th is the expiry date. And we've got so much awesome content over on the Insider Access Pass. You can access all the Beyond the News episodes, the Beyond Crypto Woo. We do Psychic Spies, Navigating the Woo, 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 all kinds of woo content. And woo, woo. And be sure to check us out for this special show, October 17th. Oh my goodness, we're 6 days away from this crazy full moon in Aries. So join us over 8 p.m. Eastern, October 17th on the Beyond Mystic Rumble channel for that special show. And Astrid, any parting words? That sounds kind of cryptic for me to say, but any words of goodbye before we finish up?
Well, if you like, I'm sure some of you will see some conflict when you go outside. People will be very agitated. So whenever you come in contact with such kind of people, or you feel it coming from within yourself, just take a step back. Try not to respond from your emotions. Try to like really dig deep. Where is this coming from? And if you cannot seem to steer clear from it, just protect yourself, take good care of yourself, and just try to be mindful to not stir up any conflict, and try to be the negotiator, and try to be like really, really bring forward the peace in these more combating times. And I think that is when the real light workers really give in their good energy. That's like necessary right now. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Ruthless Love says, great advice and reminder. Beautiful. And I guess what I would say just before we finish up is remember how historic these times are that we are living in. We are literally living in a future movie that is going to be made that our grandchildren and great grandchildren are going to wish they were alive during these times, because it's so exciting, even though it can be intense, can be a little bit scary. I try to remind myself every day to be in gratitude that we're witnessing the greatest movie of all time and we're taking part in that. So even though it can be a struggle and challenging, we are having fun and living our best lives. Hello, Red Pill Rooster. Nice to see you. Don't know if you're just joining, but we're just finishing up. So we'll see you guys all next time, and we'll let you know when our next Astro Deep Dive is going to be. And thanks so much for joining us, everybody. We love you all very, very much. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, you can go find Astrid's links over if you go on her Instagram to her link in the bio. The link tree is where you can check out all her links and everything. So we love you all so, so much. And until next time, bye,
bye.
everybody.